Hello, my Teaserking family. 1 second. I got to clean my hair. Sorry, I meant to castor oil my hair and I didn't. So now I look better. How's everybody today? My, oh my, look at gold go. It's like a big football run. You know, we're on like a 35-1 run. Or a basketball, 32-40. And we have not had the big drop today. We had a little bit of a drop at like 7:30, 6 o'clock, from 32.30 to 32.10, and then boom, boom. 10 o'clock drop was only $10, and then back to 32.40. So 29.60, and I told everybody, don't worry. You know that. You told me not to worry. And this is comex blown up. They cannot short it anymore because they have to take the delivery of the gold, and they can't do that because they don't have any. That proves there's nothing there. So comex is blown up. Part of the problem is these tariffs. All you're doing is pissing off China. He who has the gold makes the rules. They've got 60,000 tons. Believe me, they want the price to go up. At a point, you want the price to stay down. So when you're just buying and you got 10 ounces like us, and you got 15 ounces, oh, the price stay down, and you're in a hurry. That's how my credit cards got up. I was in a hurry to get them, right? And then all of a sudden, I hit my credit cards. I go, I better buy before they go up. And they're 1,700, 1,800, 1,900. And I'm buying as much as I can. And so you're now at the point you still want to buy more, but in my mind and my capacity, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good. I like what I got, and I wish I had more. I wish I had a ton. I wish I had 10 tons, but I don't, and I don't have the money to buy all that. So I'm happy where I'm at. If I can get another ounce or two, I will. But at this point, if gold went to 10,000 an ounce, I wouldn't be too sad. And that's where it's heading. Trump's just killing China. I got some China videos. Mark McGuire was visited by alligator today. So it was an alligator Mark McGuire show. Pretty funny. And we'll see that. It was okay. Again, Mark, alligator with it's not gold going up, the dollar going down, which frustrates me because it is gold going up. How do you explain gold going up? Are you saying the dollar's dropping? How can you explain the dollar dropping? And then how can you explain gold going down to 29.60? It's not like the dollar went up that day and now the dollar's dropping again. The dollar never went up. So how do you explain gold going down to 29.60? You can't, alligator. So I disagree with that wholeheartedly. An ounce of gold hasn't changed. It took you $35 to buy it, and now it takes you $3,200 to buy it. I get it. I have no issue with it. That's what's happening, but it doesn't mean the price of gold isn't going up. That's just bullshit. Of course it is. I mean, explain the price going up. Well, part of it is comex keeping the price down. So that's the other part. It's been sabotaged and suppressed. Now they can't suppress it. So the price is going up because the suppression isn't as strong. It is on silver, but not on gold. And silver is just basically the bullion banks not wanting to get over 35, and they lose trillions of dollars because they got to cover their derivatives, which he doesn't say. He thinks China's keeping the price of it down, which I totally disagree. I think JP Morgan's involved, and then the silver mines are involved. They're getting kickbacks by JP Morgan, and they shut up, and then they don't care about the silver price. And it goes to China to get refined, but China doesn't care about the price. China's got tons of it. So does Russia. They want the price to go up. As I said, at certain points, you want the price to go up. So there's in the beginning, I want it down so I can get, but once you got it, what do they care what the price? They want the price to go up. Especially now, their dollar's gone. They're bankrupt. I showed you the video of nobody at the airport, nobody at the malls, nobody at the stores. There's no buyers. Nobody can buy because nobody has money. They can't get the money out of the bank. The military's a big problem. China's a mess. China's broke. Guess who else is broke? The U.S. and Europe and Germany and Italy and France and Britain. All these countries are broke. They might have monopoly money, but this is all worthless. So the other thing that I can't stand about alligator, he says, well, the central banks aren't really buying gold. They're getting out of dollars. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I didn't buy gold either. I just got out of dollars, and I just happened to buy gold with the dollars. What a fucking idiot this guy is. The dollar is worthless, so you're getting out, and you're going into the only thing you can, gold. So because you're getting out of dollars and buying gold, you're buying gold with it. Not that hard to understand there, alligator. 32.43. Look at this thing just go. Go. I mean, we might be at 3,300 by the end of the day. Well, the day closes at 6 or 5:30, so we won't be at 3,300. I doubt. But next week we could be at 3,500 next week. And what you're doing is you're pissing off BRICS and China, and so they're buying as much as they can because they're going to go gold-backed currency, and they might do it very, very soon. We're in April. It's April 11th. They might do it probably July 1st or sooner. There's the next meeting, I believe, is in Brazil, and May or June. That's when they're doing it. So they're all, and there's more countries joining. Everybody's getting out a dollar, and I don't know if Trump's really this stupid, although he could be. I never really liked the Apprentice show. I never liked the guy that says you're fired. Don't ever say that to me. I'd kill him if they said that. But that's what happens a lot. So as I've told you, gold's up $81 today. Silver's up $1.43. So it's at 32. This is why we buy gold. It's up $81. Silver has a big day, is up $1. Now, we know silver's going to go. Silver's going to pull a gold. very soon. It will, but not until JP Morgan stops pounding it with derivatives. We'll have to see when that is. We got the Masters going on this week. Let's take a look at the NFL if there's any news. Why would anybody draft Prime Jr.? I don't know. Joe Flacco going back to the Browns. Good luck. He's 50 years old. Travis Hunter. I don't know why people think, first of all, is he going to play both ways? Really? So you're going to carry one less cornerback and one less receiver because you got Travis Hunter. And when he gets hurt, now you need two players. It's the NFL. Nobody plays. They might play like at Michigan when Charles Woodson was there. He played cornerback, and then he would go out for 3 or 4 passes a game, or he ran punts back. But that's neither here nor there. But he did play receiver because they didn't have, not because he was that good, and only 3 and 4. Notice on the Packers, he never played receiver. He was always the cornerback. I just don't see him playing two-way. I don't think he's good enough to play two-way, actually. Commanders bring back Josh Johnson. Oh, my God, he's terrible. Why would they bring him back? I don't know what the Dolphins in communication with Tyreek Hill means. I love this. Edge rusher, Shemar Stewart visits Steeler. What is this, college where you go visit? Whatever. All right. So nothing really. We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. So let's go to the Masters. And let's go to the leaderboard. Justin Rose is 9 under. Bryson DeChambeau is 6 under. Corey Connors from Spider-Man is 4 under. Scotty Scheffler. Can he be Scott Scheffler? Scotty, really? 4 under. Xingman Yang, -4 under. Matthew McCarty, 4 under. And he's Shane Lowry's the meat, -2 under. Jason Day, I like Jason Day, 2 under. He actually lives in Ohio, and he plays at the Jack Nicklaus course. He lives close to Jack Nicklaus, I guess. Strange that he'd moved to Ohio. He's from Australia. Freddie Couples, 1 under. I'm surprised Nicklaus isn't playing. He probably could be leading. Xander Schauffele, big choke, is 1 under. Rory, 1 under. He shot a 26 today. Oh, yeah. He's only through 7 holes. He'll never win. He doesn't have the short game for it. Tommy Fleetwood Mac. I always like that guy. He's 1 under so far, 2 under today. I don't recognize too many other names. Oh, Jordan Spieth. I hate that guy. That's 1 over. Ever since he screwed up on the 12th hole, I made the announcement he'll never win another major tournament again, and he never has. He choked on the 12th, and I guarantee every time he gets to the 12th hole, he craps in his pants. Zach Johnson, 1 over. Dustin Johnson, who I hate, biggest choke, he's 2 over. Phil Mickelson, he probably bet against himself, is 3 over. He'll probably shoot an 80 today. John Rahm, 3 over. Let's see. Jose Maria Olazabal must be 90 years old, is 6 over. I miss Seve. Seve was the man. I watched the 86 Masters last week, and he choked so badly on the 15th. I couldn't believe it. A 4-under for him, especially since he grew up on a three iron. He shoots a four iron less than 200 yards on that, and he just chokes it. He had lost all his concentration because Nicholas was getting all the cheers from the crowd. You would have not thought Seve would have lost his concentration like that. But I miss him. I guess he had cancer and he didn't follow our diet, so that definitely hurt. So that is the Masters. Tomorrow and Sunday it's on TV, probably 1, 2 o'clock, and I can watch it at the club because I don't get ESPN. All right, I can't get it because Spectrum doesn't carry it. Really smart of ESPN, like to not show it on ABC. What a bunch of idiots. Major League Baseball, it's 12:20, and our first game goes at, I think it's a night game. Yeah, we actually don't have a game till 6:10. No day games. All right, let's go through the games. Let's try to pick what we can. And there we go. KC at Cleveland. Cleveland minus 130-7. Chris Bubik. 2-0 with an 0.00 ERA, and Tanner Bibby 1-1 with a 6.52. He's off to a bad start. Yeah, don't know what to do with this one. I'm leaning Bubik over Bibby. 2-0 with an 0 versus 6-1, but he might be a reliever. I'm going to go over 7. I don't know what either team's hitting like, but you got a 6.52 Bibby, and I think KC probably, maybe I take KC. They're getting $1.30. Maybe I take KC here. Let's go KC. Beat Navy. Pitt and Cincinnati. Cincy 165, 8.5. Bailey Falter 0-1 with an 8.10 for Pitt. Brady Singer 2-0. Okay, that's an easy one. Go Cincinnati, beat Pitt. I'm going to have to start writing these down. So today being 4/11. And let's go. So we're going Kansas City. And then we're going to go Cincinnati. And let's make this a 3-star. So we're going to break them into just the picks and the ones we actually want to bet on. Atlanta and Tampa. We got Tampa 135-9. Bryce Elder 0-0 with a 6.75 for Atlanta. Ty Bradley 1-0 with a 4.91. Yeah, we can go. Let's go over. Atlanta over 9. But we're not going to bet on it. The 49ers and the Yankees are playing. Yankees minus 130-8. Robbie Ray 2-0 with a 3.18. Pretty good. Marcus Stroman 0-0 with a 7.27. Let's go 49ers. They're a dog. Probably goes over 8, I would think. Yeah, let's go over 8. Toronto, Baltimore. Baltimore minus 138.5. Bowden Francis for Toronto, 1-1 with a 3.18. Mr. Fuji for Baltimore, 1-1 with a 2.89. I really don't know how these teams are hitting. This seems like 8.5 seems about right here. Let's go under 8.5 then. Washington against Miami. Washington minus 118. What the hell is that? 118 and 8. Mitchell Parker 2-0 with a .73 against Edward Cabrera 0-0 with an 0-0. So let's go Washington. 2-0 with a .73, and they were 118. So let's go. Let's put 2 units on this. Boston against Chicago. The Red against the White Sox. Chicago probably couldn't beat Brother Rice High School. Boston 160 and 8. Sean Newcomb 0-1 with the 519 against Davis Martin 0-1 with the 570. Well, you got to go over. So we're going to go Boston. We're going to go over 8, and we're going to play this for 2 units. California against Houston. Houston 145-9. Jack Kalmanakowicz 1-0 with the 327 against Ronel Blanco. God, he went from a no-hitter to the crap. 0-1 with a 945. We got to go over here. Houston over 9. And let's hope my guy's playing the little guy. I can't think of his name. I thought of it yesterday, and then I went blank again on me. Detroit, Minnesota. Detroit minus 102 and 8. Reese Olson, a real pig, 1-1 with the 506 against David Fiesta, 0-0 with an 0-0-0. I'm going to take Detroit here. Now, what did we notice about Detroit? When they played the shit White Sox pitchers, they all got hits. But what did we see the last game against the Yankees, against the real pitcher, Max Fried? Nothing. They got shut out. Then against the bullshit reliever in the 9th inning. I don't understand these managers. You got a 4-0 lead and you bring in a guy who stinks and he gives up 3 runs. Why is it so hard to throw strikes and get these guys out in the bottom of the 9th when you've got them shut out the whole game? Why did you pull your starter? Why are you pulling Max Fried? You got a shutout going. Why would you just let him finish up? Anyway, so that's what's happening. So then the bum in the bullpen gives up 3 runs. And the other guy comes in and gets him out in 2 pitches. Why do you let the guy go out and give up 3 runs and all these walks and singles? It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's funny how the Tigers play the 9th inning different than all the other innings for some reason. And again, if you think that their manager it wasn't lying and cheating again with Houston when they won the World Series, if you don't think he didn't know that they were doing the garbage can, I don't buy it. I don't see this manager not knowing exactly what's going on. So he cheated with the garbage can, and then he lied about it. This is your manager. I don't think Detroit ever wins with this guy. He's a clown, he's a liar, and a cheat. Maybe that's good for baseball. I don't know, but I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. I don't like this Reese Olson guy. I don't know who David Fiesta is. So basically, I think they'll score on David Fiesta. They seem to score a lot against weak pitching. And then when they play, it's like the Lions. When they play bad teams, they light it up. As soon as they play a good team, and I'm not saying Washington had a good defense, but as soon as they play, if they'd have played Philly, they'd have lost 50-0. So the Tigers are good against weak pitchers, and as soon as they play a good pitcher, they're fucked. So I don't know. I don't think David Fiesta's too good. Reese Olson will give up a few runs. So we should get I got Detroit here. Maybe I should go over 8. Yeah, let's go Detroit over 8. See, these are the decisions. When I look at the pitcher, 506, I can't really bet on him, but I know Detroit will score again. I don't know who this Fiesta is, but anyway. So keep your mind on the Tigers. The manager is a cheater, and then he lies about it. And the reason I bring it up is I just watched that NFL draft movie with the guy from 3,000 Miles from Graceland. What's his name? I want to say Roy Scheider, but that isn't right. Kevin Costner. And he's the GM for draft day, and he finds out the guy had nobody come to his birthday and then lied about this $100 bill, and he lost all credibility. So he was a liar and a cheater, and he didn't draft him, as I wouldn't either. So that's where that comes from. Philly, St. Louis. Philly minus 127.5. Aaron Nola, 0-2 at the 6.35. He used to be good. He's very inconsistent now. Now he sucks. Andre Palantine, 1-0 at the 3.86. Yeah, we're 7.5. We're going over. This will be 3 stars. Philly over 7.5, 3 units. Yeah, we got 4 games so far we can bet on. Milwaukee, Arizona, we don't have pitching, so we cannot play it. Geez, how many games are there? Colorado, San Diego. San Diego, big favorite. Minus 210, 7.5. Jermaine Marquez, 0-1 with the 2.45. Goes against Nick Pivetta, 1-1 with the 2.70. I got to go under here. Take San Diego under 7.5. Again, Colorado is at San Diego, and it's amazing how bad Colorado is on the road and how strong they are at home. It's ridiculous. Their ballpark should be like 400 all the way around. I mean, that's ridiculous. 310 in the thin air. Who are they kidding? That's like playing Little League. It's like hitting with 250-yard fences or 250 feet. I did that in Little League. I was 12 years old, so we just play on dirt fields. And then one day we got to go to a park where there was a real field with real grass infield and fences, and the fences were like 210, 220. And my eyes just lit up. I was drooling. I go, God, I hit the ball a lot farther than that fence. And I think I hit 1 home run there, and it was just so short. Oh, my God. That's how it is at Colorado. It's like a Little League stadium. All right, Texas, Seattle. Texas minus 125, 6.5. Jacob DeGrom for Texas, 0-0 with the 3.38 against Bryce Miller, 0-2 with the 5.73. I would go under, but Bryce Miller's best. I'm going to go Texas, minus 125. The Mets against the Oakland A's. We've got the Mets 135, 9.5. Griffin Canning, 0-1, 279. Never heard of him. J.P. Sears for Oakland, 1-1 with the 3.46. They've been scoring runs, 9.5. Canning at 279, 3.46. Okay, I'll bite. Let's go under. Let's go Oakland under 9.5. It's a big number, 9.5. You get 2 decent pitchers, 279, 3.46. So it could get there. And our last game of the day is the Cubbies against the Dodgers. The Dodgers minus 208 with the total. Matthew Boyd, 1-0 with an 0-0-0. And Mr. Fuji, 1-1 with a 1.69. We are going under. The Cubbies under 8. And we won't make it a 2-star. So here's our games. Kansas City, Cincinnati, Atlanta over 9, 49ers over 8, Baltimore under 8.5, Washington, Jalen Daniels going today, Boston over 8, Houston over 9, Detroit over 8, Philadelphia over 7.5, San Diego under 7.5, Texas, Oakland under 9.5, and the Cubbies under 8. The picks, 4 picks, Cincinnati, 3 units, Washington, Jalen Daniels, 2 units. Boston over 8, 2 units. Philadelphia over 7.5, 3 units. So those are the 4 prime. And what I'll do is, as we get going, those will be the picks I'll put on my site. Will be the picks. So I have all the picks, but then the ones I say 2 unit, 3 unit, 5 units, those I'll put on the site. And I'll charge like $10 or something. Anyway, so that's what's going on with baseball. Let's take a look at some stats. Let's look at the standings. Anything It's kind of new. Yankees lead 7-5, Toronto 8-6, Boston 7-7, Tampa 5-7, Baltimore 5-8. I don't know, Baltimore. I thought they had a good team last year and they didn't sign their guys. It was really stupid. The Tigers, everybody's bitching. They're in first place, 7-5. KC 7-6, Cleveland 6-6 are right there. Mini 4-9, and the White Sox are the. Who are they? They're the New Mexico state of baseball. Or they're not Connecticut anymore, but the other team. They just suck. I mean, the game I watched against the Tigers and saw that the bullpen came in with a 3-1 lead in the ninth inning and couldn't throw a strike and walked three guys in a row. You got to be kidding me. I'm surprised the manager's still there. He should be fired. If the talent is not good, why do you bring him in the bottom of the ninth to win the game? You got a 3-1 lead. Just bring in somebody out of the bullpen who's good, or let the starter play the whole game. The starter had him shut out or one run. Well, don't take the starter out. What are you saving him for? So I thought that the manager is another one of these idiots who, it's 4th and 2. I'm supposed to go for it. And we lose, or it's in this case, he's probably tired. He threw 75 pitches. Yeah, we don't want to get him hurt, so we got to get him out of the game. I mean, this is just ridiculous. What are they doing and how are they coming up? It's like trying to price inflation. Well, it's year over year price increases. Who thought of that? What are you, insane? That's not how you measure inflation. Good God. All right. Texas 9-4, California 8-4, Houston 5-7, Oakland 5-8, and Seattle 5-8. So Texas, we'll see how good they are. So the best team right now is Texas at 9-4, then California at 8-4, then Detroit and the Yankees at 7-5. Detroit will fall; they won't stay there. National League, we got the METS, Mets at 8-4, Philly 8-4, Miami 6-6, Washington, Jalen Daniels got to start playing there, 5-7, and Atlanta, who we thought would be better, is 3-9. So it's the Mets and Philly. We got the Cubbies 9-6, Milwaukee 7-6, St. Louis 5-7, Cincy 5-8, and Pitt 5-8. So it's pretty competitive. How good will the Cubs be? Is there any good team in there except for Paul Skeens and Pitt? And then the best team right now is San Diego at 10-3, 49ers at 9-3, and then the Dodgers at 10-4. They might not even win the division. Everybody thinks they're going to win all 162 games. Doesn't work that way in baseball. A good pitcher will shut you down. Arizona 7-6, and Colorado is the other New Mexico state at 3-9. So the best team right now is San Diego at 10-3, San Francisco, Joe Montana 9-3, and then you got the Mets and Phillies at 8-4, the Dodgers at 10-4, and Milwaukee at 7-6. So again, it's way too early, but just to digest, we'll look at it after like the first 30 games or something like that. No news in the NFL. We're waiting for Aaron Rodgers. Talks about the Saints and Prime Jr. I don't know. They have Derek Carr and they have the other kid from Fresno State, Hayner. Hayner's a lot better than Prime Jr. They're way overvaluing Cam Ward and Hunter and Prime Jr. They're way overvalued. These guys shouldn't even be drafted in the first round. In last year's draft, they wouldn't even be in the first round. That's why they played last year, because they knew they couldn't make it. All right, let's do I want to understand this. Well, let's see if I can get it. Dylan Gabriel, Senior 3V. Don't know what that means. Now he's played 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Is this guy eligible for the draft? Or is he playing? All right, so I typed in, is he in the NFL draft? He's the best decision-making quarterback in the NFL draft. So can somebody explain? He is in the NFL draft. Can somebody please explain why he's not being talked about? Let's see, in his career, they don't total it. The last 3 years, he's 24-6, touchdowns, interceptions, 30-6, 28-6. Does great at Oklahoma and then does great at Oregon. 5'11", 204. Oh, he's not tall enough? Oh, yeah. Because I'm sure the linemen at Oregon and Oklahoma are all very small. They're not pro linemen. Oh, wait, the Lions have the linemen from Oregon. Yeah, makes no sense to me. Why he's not being mentioned is a joke. God, I'm getting killed on these spam calls. Medicare, or do you need your shower put in? Now I'm on property in Mexico. I'm like, what? Who are these people? I didn't apply for any of that shit. All right. Now I apologize, but I got cut short last night where I again the internet cracked on me, and so I couldn't be shown. Let's see, I'm not getting. Am I live? Yeah, I'm there. Okay, I get a little concerned. See, shit like this I don't like. 9 ounces of silver will retire you. Wait, what's he talking about? Even if they go to 2,000 an ounce, which I think they will, it's only $18,000. How is that going to retire you? Alligator, alligator, alligator. It's Michael Saylor. What a loser this guy is. The world abandons China in a spectacular display of loyalty to Donald Trump. Yeah, is it loyalty or has he got a gun to their head? Here's an intro. Men don't realize girls ask this to hit on you. Oh, I like this. The boss smiled and said, "Congratulations, you're terminated." I nodded, handed over my laptop, and says, "Good luck with the investor demo tomorrow." As security escorted me out, I smiled. The hidden code would activate in 10 minutes. So she put a little to ruin the presentation. My boss stole my startup idea, but he didn't know I left a trap. Oh, I got to see this one just to see how to leave a trap. GM takes the lead, leaving Trump in the dust. His reaction says it all. Well, GM's broke. Whales are scooping up gold and silver, not the middle class. How the fuck do you know who's buying? Gold derivative market collapses. This is from another from Alligator. Well, geez, we already know that, Alligator. And don't tell me I can't watch him anymore. It's not gold going up. It's the dollar going down. It is gold going up, you fucking idiot. Let's see. Let's see. All right, I was showing you gold matters. I have a really good stoic. Overcome your fear and anxiety. And this is perfect for my friend who's got a little problem with anxiety. And this, I sent her this. So hopefully she watches it. And it's amazing how good stoic is. But first, we're going to go to Alligator, which I was showing you yesterday. Now, we got our baseball done. We looked at golf. Pro football, nothing new with the draft. College football, there's nothing until June or July when we get our Gray Sports Almanac and I can break it down for us. I don't think it comes out till June or July. Let's see what else. Tax days, Monday, I think. 12th, 13th, no, Tuesday. Taxes are all done, and I'm not going to pay because I owe a few hundred because of this whole craziness. If you get unemployment, it goes with your W-2 and your Social Security counts. Why is Social Security included in your income when you've already paid into it and it's your money coming back? How is it income? I've already got it as income and I've already paid tax on it. What the fuck is it now part of the income? So because of that, I made more than the minimum. And now I owe a little bit of tax because my Social Security is included in my income. What the fuck is that? So Social Security, I mean, it's not a lot. It's not what it should be. It's not anywhere close to what you earned. And then not only that, but what's the point? If you work at all, forget about Social Security. I mean, then it's going to count with your earnings. And if you get unemployment or anything, any interest and dividends, it goes against, and you pay this tax on it. It's what the fuck are they doing? Oh my God, it's just insanity. All right, so let's look at Egon and this guy that doesn't know what he's talking about, Piffenberger, yesterday, and then we'll go to this. Well, let's do the stoic thing first. 5 ways to overcome your fear and anxiety. I think this is a really good thing. It's 5 minutes long. No, it's 8 minutes. But let's listen to Marcus Aurelius.
Fear and anxiety are universal experiences that everyone faces. Fear and anxiety are universal experiences that everyone faces, whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or the anxiety of daily responsibilities. These emotions can often take control of our lives, But what if you could transform your relationship with fear? What if you could face anxiety and conquer it? In today's video, we're going to explore 5 powerful Stoic principles that help overcome fear and anxiety. Stoicism teaches us to rise above our emotions, embrace rationality, and cultivate inner peace. So, let's dive into how these timeless tools can help you live a more grounded, resilient life and overcome the emotional challenges that hold you back. Number 1. Accept what you cannot control. The first step to overcoming fear and anxiety is learning to accept what you cannot control. According to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, the root of much of our distress comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. We can't control the actions of others, the future, or the unpredictable circumstances of life. Instead of wasting energy on things outside your control, direct your focus on what you can influence: your own thoughts, behaviors, and reactions. The next time you're feeling overwhelmed by anxiety, pause for a moment and ask yourself,
Hey,
is
Prophet.
this something I can control? If the answer is no, release it. Understand that stressing
Professor
over it
Gold's
doesn't
fine.
change anything, but your response to the situation does. By letting go of what's beyond your reach, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional burdens, enabling you to handle challenges with a clearer, calmer mind. Number 2, view challenges as opportunities. The Stoics believed that challenges weren't obstacles to avoid, but opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers and emperors, often reminded himself that obstacles were part of life's journey and could serve as vehicles for personal development. When fear and anxiety arise, it's easy to see a challenge as a threat, something to avoid or fear. But what if you began viewing these challenges as opportunities to become a stronger, more capable person?
I think this will have great resonance. I think this will be celebrated. Well,
Nobody gives
more
a crap
capable
about it.
person. When you encounter difficult situations, instead of focusing on the potential for failure, reframe the experience as an opportunity to learn and grow. When you shift your perspective, your anxiety starts to transform into motivation. By embracing challenges, you push yourself outside your comfort zone and develop resilience.
Hold on, I gotta answer that. Sorry, just a second. I apologize.
Resilience. This mindset shift is incredibly powerful because it reduces the
Let me take it back.
arise. It's easy to see a challenge as a threat, something to avoid or fear. But what if you began viewing these challenges as opportunities to become a stronger, more capable person? When you encounter difficult situations, instead of focusing on the potential for failure, reframe the experience as an opportunity to learn and grow. When you shift your perspective, your anxiety starts to transform into motivation. By embracing challenges, you push yourself outside your comfort zone and develop resilience. This mindset shift is incredibly powerful because it reduces the grip that fear has over you. With every challenge you face, you become more accustomed to discomfort, building your inner strength. Over time, you'll see fear as a teacher, not a roadblock. Number 3, practice negative visualization. Here's a stoic practice that might seem a bit strange at first: negative visualization. This practice involves intentionally imagining the worst possible outcome of a situation. While it may seem counterproductive, the purpose is to desensitize yourself to fear and anxiety by mentally preparing for adversity. For example, if you're anxious about an important presentation, take a moment to vividly imagine the worst-case scenario. Picture yourself stumbling over your words, failing to connect with the audience, and receiving harsh feedback.
All right, hold on. I gotta straighten her out. All right, my apologies.
And receiving harsh feedback. Now, recognize that even if this happens, it's not the end of the world. You'll survive,
All right,
you'll learn,
let's go
and you'll
back.
improve. Number 3, practice negative visualization. Here's a stoic practice that might seem a bit strange at first: negative visualization. This practice involves intentionally imagining the worst possible outcome of a situation. While it may seem counterproductive, the purpose is to desensitize yourself to fear and anxiety by mentally preparing for adversity. For example, if you're anxious about an important presentation, take a moment to vividly imagine the worst-case scenario. Picture yourself stumbling over your words, failing to connect with the audience, and receiving harsh feedback. Now, recognize that even if this happens, it's not the end of the world. You'll survive, you'll learn, and you'll improve. By visualizing the worst outcome, you confront your fears head-on and break them down. You realize that even the worst case is often much more manageable than your imagination tells you. This practice helps you detach from fear, reducing its power and allowing you to approach challenging situations with more confidence and less anxiety. Number 4, the dichotomy of control. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, the idea that there are things we can control and things we cannot. Anxiety often arises when we confuse these two areas. We get anxious about things that are beyond our power, like someone's opinion of us or the outcome of a future event. In contrast, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control: our own actions, thoughts, and responses. For instance, if you're anxious about an important job interview, the parts within your control are your preparation, how you present yourself, and your attitude. What you can't control is the interviewer's decision. By recognizing this divide, you can detach from anxiety about things outside your power. Instead of stressing about things beyond your control, direct your energy into the things you can influence. If you give your best effort and let go of the results, the anxiety over outcomes diminishes. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to focus only on what truly matters. Number 5. Develop a strong inner dialogue. The final Stoic practice to overcome fear and anxiety involves developing a strong, rational inner dialogue. Marcus Aurelius often wrote in his meditations about the importance of controlling the voice inside our heads, the internal dialogue that shapes how we perceive and react to the world.
Spring is vastly approaching, and spring is the perfect time to do a fresh declutter.
Internal dialogue that shapes how we perceive and react to the world. When anxiety strikes, it's easy to spiral into negative self-talk. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough or I can't handle this can amplify our fears. But with practice, you can replace these irrational thoughts with Stoic reasoning. Instead of letting your inner dialogue worsen your anxiety, remind yourself of the Stoic perspective. I am capable of enduring this. This is just a moment. It will pass. By repeating affirmations that emphasize rationality and self-control, you rewire your thought patterns. You train your mind to respond to fear and anxiety with reason, calm, and resilience. Over time, this strong inner dialogue will help you break free from the grip of fear. By shifting your mental habits, you develop the mental fortitude to face anxiety with clarity and control. Stoicism offers us practical and profound tools to navigate fear and anxiety. By embracing these principles, you can transform how you respond to life's challenges and take control of your emotional well-being. Whether it's focusing on what you can control, seeing obstacles as opportunities, or practicing techniques like negative visualization, each of these Stoic practices helps you build resilience and mental strength. Remember, fear and anxiety are natural parts of life, but they don't have to dominate us. With time and consistent practice, you can master your emotions and face life's uncertainties with confidence and clarity. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment.
So I apologize for that. Let me explain Daria, but first let's explain this. So a lot of anxiety is fear. And what he's saying is a lot of the fear we can't control. You shouldn't be afraid. So if I have a job interview, I'm very confident in what I do. And so there I do it. When I do this class, I'm very confident about economics, gold, football, sports, that I'm very, very confident in it. So I am not anxious when I do this class. I'm very calm and relaxed, as you can see. And when, like, for example, when gold goes down, we can't control the price, but we know it's going to go. We know it shouldn't go down now because of comex and everything. So when it went down to 29.60 a couple days ago, were we anxious? Were we scared? Absolutely not. We knew it would come back. It might take a week, but we knew it would be back to 3,100, and shit, it's at 3,200 already, 3,240, going. So we knew that's what was going to happen. So we can only control what we know. The dollar's printed to zero. We know. Most people don't. Gold can't be printed. We know that. So it won't go down. We know it's controlled by derivatives and JP Morgan, but we see it's busted because they have to cover and they can't. So we see all this, so we make our decisions. So even though it starts going down, some people would get anxious and I got to sell. That's what you see in the stock market and all these other markets. When they start going against, when the stock market starts dropping, what do we see? Everybody freaking out because they don't know why they did it. And the girl who says, I buy Bitcoin because it goes up, has no idea what she's doing. So therefore, that's the problem. If you don't understand, you have fear when it starts going the other way because you don't understand it. But if we understand what's going on and you can't print gold, and therefore it can't be inflated, therefore it can't lose its value, we're pretty confident buying gold and silver. Silver will follow, just it's still being manipulated where gold's less manipulated now. So that's what Stoic is. Don't be scared. Um, my friend, I had given her a quarter ounce of gold, and I said, "Do you still have it?" And she says, "Yes." And she didn't really still have it. And she finally came forward and said, I sold it. I had to pay some bills, but I thought you'd be mad. Now that's exactly what they're talking about. She's interpreting what I'm going to say and react, and she has no idea. And I says, why did you think I'd be mad? I wouldn't be mad if you had to sell it for bills. That's why I gave it to you. But I was hoping you'd keep it because when the time I gave it to her, it was $300. It's now worth $9. So you could have made a lot of money on it had you known. And that's what I'm saying. And she's already getting anxious about how I'm going to react to her. But now she finally told me the truth. And I says, why would I be mad at you? You're telling me the truth. I'm mad when you lie about it, but I'm not mad if you tell the truth on it. But don't assume how I'm going to react. I'm not a mean person. I'm not going to do that. Which takes us to Daria. I got upset because I said, when are we meeting? And she said, well, let's meet when there's peace or when the wars are better. And so, I'm getting frustrated. Are you just using me? I mean, it's like, let's meet already. It's been a couple years. I know the war is going on, but I meet Jenna in Italy, and I met her in Berlin, and I met her in Barcelona, and there's no problem. She was wearing her Ukraine T-shirt. It was no problem. Nobody cares. You go to the hotel, they want your money. You go to the restaurant, they want your money. You go shopping, they want your money. Nobody cares. Nobody goes, oh, you're American, you're Russia, you're Ukraine. They don't care. They don't know and they don't care. They just into their own little world. This is what the iPhone's done to everybody. So she's worried, and I'm like, she says, don't you want to date me anymore? That's what she was saying. I said, no, I want to date you. I just want to meet you already. It's very frustrating. I'm here and you're there, and for so long, right? And but it's good to scare her a little bit. Like now I see how she reacted. I know that it really is serious with her. And then it's just, okay, let's meet already. Stop being afraid. I said, I'm not afraid of the war because I've traveled there and I haven't had any issues. Now I'm not going to go to Russia, although I might, but I don't think so. But we can meet Montenegro or Serbia or Turkey, or maybe she can come here. I'm not sure. But we can meet. At least let's try. But what are you afraid of? She said the world's turbulent. I go, well, when is the world not turbulent? So she's very anxious. She needs to watch this video. But I said, no. What are you kidding? I'm trying to be with you, and you're the one blocking it. I'm ready to go. So anyway, I just it'd be nice to meet her. So I tried to calm her down. Again, she's anxious. She's scared to go to the dentist and the doctor. So what are you going to do with it? But I think every once in a while, it's good to kind of be stoic and say, hey, what are we fucking meeting or not? And if we're not, then I'm moving on. And, that's why you tend to try to date more than one girl because you keep the power. Oh, if you don't want to meet me, I'll go over to this girl. She'll meet me. And, but you got to understand they all have problems. So that's fine. All right, let's go to. I started showing Mark.
Welcome to another Gold Matters discussion.
This is Egon yesterday.
Well, we call this Gold Matters, and it actually does matter more than ever now. I've been interested in gold for about 30 years, and I've been heavily invested into gold ourselves and for our investors for 25 years. And this is the end of an era, as we both know. We are both historians. We follow what has happened before. We know that what is happening now is inevitable. We never know the exact timing, but I started looking at this already in the mid 90s. I knew it was coming. I saw the debt growing. I saw the derivatives growing. And I was planning to enter the gold market for wealth preservation purposes. So we did in 2002 at around $300.
So what he's saying is he's smart enough to understand Austrian economics. I saw it in 1995. So I was ahead of the game. And I bought a little bit of gold there, not as much as I should have. But the ironic thing is I was married and I would have had to split the gold with my ex, but instead I got all the sports cards. We had just a little bit of gold. So we split the gold and I got all the sports cards, which are turning into like the amazing, now I got these cards, which are worth a lot more than I would have gotten the gold. And I didn't have to split them with them. So that's the thing. So what he's saying is I saw that this was going to happen. I knew that the government would print and the dollar would inflate because it's not backed by anything. And I got into gold. So he knew that was the story. And he just held it and held it and held it because there's no reason to sell it. So as I say, the fact it's at 32.40 or 32.50 at this point, there's no reason to sell it. There's absolutely no reason to sell it. It's just going to keep going up and up because if you sell it, you get back on the Titanic. That's why I love using the Titanic. This is the Titanic. It's sinking. I get off to the lifeboat of gold. That's the only lifeboat, gold and silver. You can't get into another currency. So as this is sinking, do I want to sell my gold and get back on the Titanic as it's sinking? No. So the price of gold's immaterial. You just stay in the lifeboat. You stay in gold and watch it go up. There's no profit taking because that means I got to get back into a worthless dollar. So you just buy your gold as much as you can eat. Buy your silver as much as you can eat. Silver will do what gold's doing. It's just going to go. Right now, the banks are holding it down before their derivatives break, and they got to come up with trillions of dollars to cover their derivatives. So that's why they're now letting the silver get over 35. But they can only hold it so long. But they're doing a good job holding it. Meanwhile, you see gold going. So this is where it's at. So Egon saw this, and that's what he's doing. I don't really like this Matt guy. I think he sounds like a salesman. He used to be like a hedge fund manager. Has no idea what he's talking about. He sounds like a salesman, talk, and not saying anything. So let's listen to a little of this, not too much.
As many people know, I even stood up at one of my daughter's weddings, or wedding. She only had one wedding. And told all the guests that they should buy gold at $300. So I've seen this coming because history tells us that it always has to. The end of the monetary era means the currency collapses, and gold reflects that by going up in nominal terms. So this is where we are now, and now the world is panicking. Well, this is, as we both know, you and I, and you will talk about that more in detail, I think, which is, now the world is blaming Trump and his tariffs. Of course, Trump is wild. I mean, he's playing a computer game, a tit for tat. You do that to me, and I'll do that back to you, but twice as much to you. And tariffs go from 10% to over 100%. That's obviously killing the world economy totally. The free trade is what creates prosperity globally. The Romans, 2,000 years ago, they conquered all the countries all around them, Europe, Asia, Africa, etc. But there was always free trade, and that's why the economy around the Roman Empire prospered. Now it's the opposite. Now it's a trade war, and that's going to kill the world. And the tariffs is not the reason for the markets collapsing. Yes, it is a catalyst. You always need a catalyst when there's an overbought market, and dramatically overbought, as we can see, any measure we use, like the Buffett indicator to 200% of GDP, stock market valuation, which is crazy, of course, absolutely crazy. So it had to collapse. Now it was the Now it would happen to be the tariffs. Otherwise, it could have been a collapse of a bank, or it could have been, some political event, etc. So it was going to happen. It was predestined to happen, but it just happened to be now tariffs by Trump. Of course, this type of leadership by the world's biggest economy is a disaster for the world. You cannot play games and charge high tariffs one day, reduce them the next day, and then charge more again the following day. It's this kind of capricious leadership is very bad for the world. My view is that, I like, as you did, that Trump was elected, partly because he didn't like what Biden was doing or Harris was going to do. And of course, we thought there was a better chance of not having a global war or a nuclear war. But sadly, I think, the combination of the kind of decisions, erratic decisions that are being taken now, and the fact that we are at the end of an era, and therefore I see now this is the beginning of the last leg of this monetary era, as I see it. We're going to have very tough times. I mean, I have been predicting that for many, many years, and now it is happening. And I think it's a great risk that Trump, because what's going to happen to markets, bond markets, stock markets, property markets, all asset markets, Trump will be seen as probably one of the worst presidents that has ever been at the end of this. I'm not trying to predict history, but I say there's a high probability that will happen because any president that presides over the end of an era will suffer. So a lot's going to happen, Matt, in the coming years, because we're getting into the crescendo now, into the acceleration phase of debt, of political turmoil, of civil unrest, etc. So, this is going to be a real jungle for investors to go through. But we are standing fast as regards how you should protect yourself. My firm view has been the same for a long time. Stocks, bonds, property, all the bubble assets are going to suffer. And there'll be the biggest wealth shift that has ever happened in history, because this is global. And a lot of people will lose a lot of money. And gold is not going to go up. It's just going to maintain its purchasing power. So it looks like it's going up when you measure it in worthless currency.
Okay, so let's explain that. So if I understand what he's saying, where they're not saying it's the dollar going down, it's not gold going up. In purchasing power terms, if a tenth of an ounce of gold will get me on an airplane on a trip to Hawaii, let's say, well, the purchasing power is going up because it's worth more. And I can then I need less gold to buy the plane ticket to Hawaii and the hotel and the food. Let's say it costs $3,000 to go to Hawaii, the plane, the hotel, the food. Well, before gold was at 2,000, I needed an ounce. Now gold's at 32.50. I don't even need a full ounce now to get, but let's say I take the ounce now, I'm going to get back $250 for the ounce. I only need 3,000. So the value of the gold's going up. The purchasing power is because the dollar's going down, it's going up, and then I can go to Hawaii cheaper. So this is where I kind of disagree with them a little bit in the fact that the purchasing power is really going up because the dollar's going down. So measured in US dollars, yes, the dollar's dropping, the gold's now 3,200, 3,300, 4,000, but I can go to Hawaii, I only need 3,000. So that's really what's happening. Hard to explain it because they keep confusing the concept, but it's basically the value of the gold measured in dollars is going up. 3,000, 3,200, 3,500, 4,000, right? So that's going up. I can buy more with it. That's what they're trying to say, but they don't know how to say it, is that the value of the gold never goes down. It stays, but everything in dollars, I need more dollars to buy something, but the trip to Hawaii is 3,000 and the gold now can buy me the trip where when it was 2,000 an ounce, it couldn't. And now it's 3,200, 3,250. So now I can afford it. So gold just keeps going up in value. It's really the purchasing power of the gold maintaining. So we're not as this goes to zero, gold doesn't go to zero, gold goes up. Kind of what we've always have said. The gold goes up, but it's reflected in dollars. So you see it now 32.40. And they're trying to say, well, the ounce of gold still buys the same. No, it buys more because the dollar is making it worth more. Now it's 32.40, but the trip to Hawaii is still the same price. Anyway, you're not losing in gold is really what they're driving at.
But let's have a look now first at some of these trigger points because it's so fascinating. You never know how this is going to unravel the end of an era. But clearly now the catalyst was tariffs, Matt. And take us through what's happening there.
Okay, Matt's an idiot.
Yeah, to your point, you got two.
So we don't want to listen to Matt.
Was made in China when CEOs across the board in the U.S. decided to go for cheaper labor overseas, primarily in Asia and China, and that all your Apple phones, etc., and lawn care products and even outdoor grills are actually made in China, from tech to simple goods. And if he puts 100% tariff on China imports, well, that means any company, including many, many, many American companies, realize they have to get their butts and their labor back into the U.S. So this kind of
I agree with you. But the Chinese plan 50 years ahead, 100 years ahead. You take the Silk Road and all of that. Now they're dominating areas in Asia, in Africa, in South America by a long-term policy of building up industry there or ports or whatever infrastructure that they're assisting with. That's the way, whether we like it or not, that's the way to actually make major long-term changes in an economy. You don't make long-term changes by increasing tariffs from 10, 20 to 50 to 100% overnight.
No, we're playing checkers. Americans are checkers players. I'm sorry, I love America. We're a young country. We're kind of adolescent. China is an old country. It has many problems, but it has a history of thinking long-sighted. Reminds me of an interview Ronnie Sturflick speech.
Okay, we don't really care. Let's go. I think about here.
Book story. This is history. This is math. This is common sense. You've known it for 25 plus years. You bought in early, but it's not the price appreciation you were chasing. It was an understanding of sound money and the notion that to be rich, you have to stay rich. You have to preserve your wealth. This is not a speculation, get rich quick asset. This is a don't get poor. Don't get.
But it is something we know is way undervalued, fella.
Figure that out. But to your point, even family offices, and so just get.
Okay, because COMEX has kept the price down, like they're suppressing silver. We know silver is worth a hell of a lot more than $31 an ounce. It's $1,000 an ounce. So on one hand, we're getting into silver because it's real money. On the other hand, we are going to get rich off of it because we know it'll get to its real value because they're suppressing it. So once they stop suppressing and it starts running, it'll go to 1,000. And yes, we will get rich off of that. But that's because they're suppressing it. In these guys' minds, they don't get the suppression. If it wasn't suppressed, then yes, he's right. But it was suppressed. Gold was suppressed. Gold was 17, 16, 1,700 an ounce. You can see now it's 32. It's not even close to where the real gold price is, which we don't know. We know gold's somewhere up here, and we know COMEX is here, and it keeps going and going and going. My guess this is about 20,000 where the real gold price is, maybe 25,000. And once you get the frenzy of Eddie Murphy's team, you'll really see it skyrocket. So are we buying gold to get rich? It's a two-edged sword. You've got to get out of, you got 500 grand in dollars, you have to get out of the dollar, right? So number one, you're playing not to lose. Number two, because it's suppressed, you're also playing it'll go up, and it's going to go way up. So it is a two-edged sword, but you will make a lot of money in gold and silver once we get rid of comex and it blows up. It's blown up for gold. We just need it to blow up for silver, which will happen soon. And then that's going to run, and then you're going to be rich, because not only that, but all the countries getting out of their dollars because George Soros has fucked everybody. And then we get into gold and the price of, and then as everybody jumps into gold and there's not enough gold to go around, the price goes up. So yeah, we are going to make a lot of money. It is an investment. It's also getting out of the dollar. So it serves two masters.
Investors are still speculating in SPACs, private credit pools, private equity, hedge funds, playing the old game like history doesn't change. Well, history's changing right in front of us.
Yeah. And a lot of people still believe in this reset, and nobody knows what they're talking about when they say reset. I say, when I ask them, what do you mean reset? What kind of reset are you talking about? That people believe that first, before it was the World Economic Forum, they were going to do the reset. Their power is now just plunging, which I always said it would do, because such an artificial, horrible conglomeration of people who are just opportunists. That was all it was, nothing else.
Horrifying.
And people are now slowly or too slowly going away from that. So the World Economic Forum was never going to reset the world, because they had no power whatsoever, although they believe they did, led by Schwab, of course. Now, the other reset that you have was, of course, America resetting the world. But what's America? What kind of reset could America do? Reset to gold that they probably don't even have 8,100 tons. that every new government in the U.S., every new president sends one of his top guys and look at the gold in Fort Knox and say, yes, the gold was there. I saw it.
Trust me.
He saw one gold bar or a couple, and whether it was genuine or not, he has no idea. And with the 8,100 tons are they're obviously in 3 different vaults at least. They probably are not there, or if they are there, they've been leased anyway to the market. So they can't. If whenever America tries to revalue the gold, which they're not that stupid, they know that they haven't got it, because every time they've sent someone to check the gold, they've always come back and said, yes, it's there. They never, because before Trump was elected, yes, we're going to audit the gold, all of that. It's not going to happen now again. So they don't have. America doesn't have the gold, most probably not, and therefore, if they try to revalue the gold to boost the balance sheet, that's just anyway the paper action, and not with no fundamental change in the economy. But nevertheless, if they did that, China would say, or Russia would say, or India would say, show us your hand. Yeah, show us. Tell us. Show us. Let's see an order. Let's see if you have the gold that you're saying you're having. So that's not going to happen either. And my view has always been there's not going to be an orderly reset, because even if America tried something, the rest of the world would just laugh at them. The power is now at an accelerating rate shifting from the West, a bankrupt West with a bankrupt monetary system, to the East and to the BRICS countries. And they are buying the gold, and they have the gold. The West is not buying any gold today at all. Nothing. Central banks in the West are not buying gold. It's only the East and the BRICS countries. So that's where the power is already shifting to, and they have the gold. And therefore, they will not accept any reset that America tries. Anyway, I don't think there'll be a reset. The only reset I see is a disorderly reset, and that's what happens at the end of a monetary era. We will have a banking collapse, a credit collapse. We will have collapse of governments going and coming, and even leaving before the period is over. Vote of no confidence, or whatever way they get them out. We will have social unrest in Europe and in America. And it's going to be an ugly end of an era that sadly always is the case. And people have to be prepared for that. It's not easy to prepare. Most of us go on with our daily lives, of course, but people should think about, can I protect my assets in a little way? And if I have a few dollars, I can buy grams or tenth of grams or tenth of ounces of gold. I can buy a little bit of silver just for a rainy day. That certainly helped people in Venezuela when they got their hyperinflation, for example. So there are ways of saving for everyone. But most people are going to suffer, and a lot of people will lose their jobs, and Social Security will disappear. There won't be any money, and if they print money for Social Security, that money will be worthless. Yeah. So we
already is.
An era now. I've been expecting this for a long time. It's taken longer than I thought, but since we recommended gold for wealth preservation purposes only, it's up 10 to 12 times depending on the currency. And that's just for the strong currencies, so-called strong currencies, Western currencies, not for the weak currencies. And that where if you take Turkey or Venezuela or all of these, or many Argentina, etc., where of course the currency has collapsed and gold gone up much more. So that's the kind of era we're going to see in the West now also. So protection is so important. And I urge people, don't wait for gold to pull back. You are not going to time this right. There will be pullbacks. I don't expect them now. So just buy a little bit of gold for the rainy days. And we're going to have more than one rainy day. We're going to have a long, long storm for many, many years to come. And therefore, people must think about doing what they can to protect themselves. You can't protect yourself against civil unrest. Everybody can't just move out somewhere, to a different country, out into the countryside, etc. So that is going to be a problem. You just have to be careful, and your city centers will be one of the worst places. I've mentioned to people, just in the UK, there are 50,000 registered terrorists. 50,000 registered, and it's not the terrorists that are registered; it's the government that registers them. So and they are organized, and they are planning to attack infrastructure, etc., water, energy, etc. So that's a just, and we will have certainly the same in Germany, in Holland, Belgium, France, Sweden, etc., where we have now, made major change in the population with a big number of immigrants that all these countries have not taken care of properly, and therefore they are going to be unhappy with what they have in these countries that they now live in. So and they will have right-wing parties growing and Nazis, etc., fighting between Muslims and Nazi right-wing parties. So it will be very unpleasant. I hope I'm wrong, of course. If you look at history again, Matt, it has always happened in various forms, because we haven't, we've always had immigration before in the world, but that's immigrants have actually looked after themselves, like in America. They got there and they created their own lives. Now it's socialist governments that have just paid them money and not integrated them in society. So it's appalling what has happened. So it's sad to finish on a low note, but this is nothing different to what I've said for the last 25 years. But
so basically, the governments fuck up. It comes from the people in charge get elected that shouldn't be elected. A lot of people aren't even elected, like George Soros and his gang just take over, and they're not even elected. And they destroy these countries. They destroy our money supply. God knows what else they do. I mean, all the wheat is terrible for you. That's why everybody's getting diabetes. They're killing everybody with the food supply. If you're not smart enough to get into fruits and veggies and meat, and even then, eggs are getting hard to find. Eggs are the most important thing you can eat. And then the meat, the meat I eat, I starting to get gout with that. I got to be careful. The chickens, the fish is all, so everything's really, eat a little of it is all you can eat, and not too much, and rotate it out. But yeah, I mean, we're getting fucked all over the place, but at least the dollar we can do something about. If we have lucky enough to have a good job and make good money, or make money on bets, or however we made it, you get out and you got all your dollars, you get out of them because they're zero. This is what I don't understand. They're already worthless, the dollars. What does he think it's at? Egon says they're 99% gone. And if Egon says it, what's the difference between 99 and 100%? I don't quite understand that. There's something here about who really pulled Biden's strings, and it was a bunch of congressmen I never heard of. I'm not even sure they're Congress. I'll show it to you, but I don't think I'll play it. This is who really controlled Well, we know Biden didn't know what day it was, so we know there's people, but I don't recognize their names. Basically, it's George Soros. Housing prices in Beijing.
The original asking price for the house we bid for was $12.4 million, but at this moment the price was directly reduced to $2 million. Buying a house was really the biggest scam I have ever made in my life. I purchased a wedding house for $300,000 when I got married, but now it's only worth $200,000. The $100,000 that evaporated was my husband's savings, the dowry my parents gave me, and the money I saved back then. All of it is gone now. I now have to pay a mortgage of $830 every month. I feel so helpless and powerless. Recently, the CCP boasted that the realty market in first-tier cities such as Beijing and Shanghai has recovered. Many professionals said that the volume of house transactions has increased compared to the past, but house prices are still falling. Real estate agents remind consumers not to buy houses quickly now. Today, we'll discuss related topics. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. According to Win data from March 1st to 24th, the number of commercial residential properties signed online in Beijing was 3,416, an increase of 48.8% from February. During the same period, the number of second-hand housing properties signed online was 13,675, an increase of 15% from February. The blogger who works for a realty company in Beijing reminds homebuyers to be cautious and never buy a home with a loan. Is it necessary for young people to buy a house in Beijing? Do not buy a home unless you really need it, especially if you do not take out a loan to buy a house. You worked hard to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and you use them directly to take out a mortgage to buy a house, and then you have to pay $1,000 or $2,000 of mortgage every month. You seem to be a successful person with a home, but you will live a very tiring life. You dare not do what you want to do, you dare not eat what you want to eat, and you dare not go to the places you want to go. With a 30-year mortgage, I have to live cautiously with an invisible yoke around my neck for the rest of my life. That's all I can say. Now, the Beijing real estate market is in a polarized situation. The market is full of a large number of cheating properties. Even if you must buy a house, now is not the time to buy a house unthinkingly. There are many cases of losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on buying the first house in Beijing.
Yeah, it sounds like China's doing well. So they have so everybody goes to real estate. Oh, real estate's where to go. No, it's not. When it's really cheap and it's going up, but a lot of it goes up because of the inflation. But now, with the inflation being high, now the value of the houses are dropping. A lot of times people don't have the money to buy them. The interest rates are making it more expensive. You can't afford it. So everything comes back to, here's the market and here's what you're selling for. And if you're selling up here and the market's down here, you're fucked. If it's a house, a car, a baseball card, or whatever, once you've got the market controls everything. You cannot sell something up here if there's no market. You've got to be where the market is. That's the critical part about life and about business and about everything. You've got to meet where you meet. So that's what's going on in China. There was something else that I think I showed you yesterday. U.S. tariffs hits China hard. 1 billion people gone. Let's play this one.
Across America, predicting the outcome of the big game just got a whole lot more interesting.
And 4 billion. Well, I've discussed China's population in several programs, and consistently said that it's absolutely not the official 1.4 billion, and it's no more than 100 million. And also, I don't want to come across as sensational by making unsubstantiated claims. That said, a number of viewers have written to me, sharing their thoughts and information on the matter. I decide to finally confront the question head on. China's real population is not anywhere near 800 million either. It's somewhere between 300 and 400 million. Yes, you heard that right. China's actual population may be only a fraction of the official 1.4 billion. I believe we need a two-step approach to estimate China's real population. First, we must rectify China's real population before the pandemic. And then we must determine China's real death toll during COVID. So first things first, what is China's population before the pandemic? In 2018, the Russians estimated that China's actual population may be between 500 million and 800 million. A Russian expert noted that China's population in 1945, during the nationalist rule, was 490 million. After the Communist Party implemented the Great Leap Forward, which resulted in the Great Famine and the subsequent Cultural Revolution, causing countless deaths and injuries, followed by decades of the one-child policy, it's impossible that China's population surged to 1.4 billion. Other Russian experts added up the publicly available urban population of every Chinese city and county and got only 280 million people. And based on the traditional urban-rural population ratio of 1:1, they estimated China's actual population being around 560 million. Even considering China's unique circumstances, they say that the population should not exceed 800 million. And then Japanese scholars have done research based on China's table salt consumption, arable land, and international grain purchases, and concluded that China's real population was between 800 and 900 million. In my December 14th, 2024 program, which was cut based on my October 8th live stream, I showed you China's real population before the pandemic was between 695 million to 890 million. My logic was straightforward. It is that, 35 years ago.
Okay, so basically 600, maybe 800 million, not 1 billion for. So when they do all these statistics to say how strong their economy is, per person, it's not as high as the Americas. They're using the wrong number. Don't divide by 1.4 billion, divide by about 600 million, and you'll see how close it is to the U.S. Anyway. Chinese cry as stocks crash and tariffs wipe out earnings. People are going broke in China. So China's in big trouble. So we keep nailing China. Now this is today, Mark McGuire
if the
and
Bank of
Alligator.
International Settlements decides to square its books, sit up, take notice, work out what it actually means.
They now have to keep printing or we crash. We've got this.
To the preservation of your wealth, and he's also dedicated to explaining geopolitical developments relevant to investors. You can find him on Substack at McLeod Finance, and we'll leave a link below here in the description if you want to learn more. And with that, let's head over to the UK and talking gold with the one and only Andrew McGuire and our featured guest, Mr. Alistair McLeod. Over to you, Andrew.
Well, thanks, Shane, for the introduction. And yes, Alistair actually doesn't need an introduction. And I've known Alistair a long time. Alistair, I must say, for people who haven't visited him on Substack and his channels, Alistair really is unusual in the sense that he's got a huge amount of experience in the not just in the financial industry, but he's second to none when it comes to economics and financial history. And I think sometimes it's really important. History, it rhymes. And I think, Alistair, you have a way of unpicking this really complex world and making it very easy for people to understand. I think that's why people gravitate to you. But it is a real honor to have you join us again as a recurring visitor of Life from the Vault. Thank you, Alistair, for coming.
Well, thank you very much indeed for having me. It's very much my pleasure.
Well, if we may, Alistair, can we start with silver? And I know you've been drawing a huge amount of attention. Warehouse stocks at record levels, silver in other foreign currencies breaking out. What are the implications, perhaps, of maybe from these warehouse stocks?
Well, the thing that's fascinating is that all the attention, of course, is on gold. Gold has been rising, and we sort of look at the gold-silver ratio, and we see it's 92, and we think, oh my God, this is it's always disappointing. It never does what it should do, and so on and so forth. But then I was sort of toying with some numbers the other day, and I noticed that net exports out of China in 2023 almost exactly balanced the shortfall in the Silver Institute's figures. And this sort of confirmed a story which, I sort of stumbled across a long, long time ago. And I don't know if I've said this on your show, but I was speaking at a conference in New York, and it was one of those conferences where you had a lot of junior silver miners and gold miners and prospectors and all the rest of it, with stands, obviously trying to raise money for their activities. And I think there was something like, I don't know, it's something at least a dozen silver enterprises represented there. And I went and asked them all the same question. I said, you mine silver, but you got bills to pay. How do you turn your silver into cash? And the answer was always the same. A man from Glencore would come along and he would inspect the doré. He would give it a value. They would be paid by a major banker, who I assume was JP Morgan, and it was then shipped off to the refiner. So I said, well, do you know where it was refined? They said, well, we don't really, but we suspect China. Now, it's actually made a lot of sense, because in those days, and I think it's still true today, refining silver doré is not a very environmentally friendly job. And of course, this is something that China placed an emphasis on, refining gold and silver. But it was rather like Hotel California. The silver went to China and didn't really come out. So it seemed to me that they were building stocks the whole time. And at the same time, of course, they would hedge the position through JP Morgan in the market on COMEX futures. So that kept the price down. And of course, it's not as if this sort of silver doré or in any form went through the market. No, it didn't. Basically, it was priced on the market price, if you like, which basically means that it bystepped the market. So this idea that there was a supply and demand factor is actually didn't happen. So they were able to control the price, if you like, by this sort of three-cornered trick, with Glencore, JP Morgan, and obviously the People's Bank of China, who incidentally had complete autonomy for handling silver trade, imports, exports, whatever. And so fast forward to 2023, when I see that net exports out of China of silver, and incidentally, those exports mainly went to, guess where? London,
Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And India was somewhere in there, but we know that India has been ramping up its photovoltaic output. So you would expect some of the silver to have gone there. But just notice that the other places, they're all financial centers. I just don't see how Hong Kong and Singapore and, if you like, Switzerland really feature in this sort of electronics and photovoltaic and all the rest of it industries. So this is obviously market related. And I think basically we can say, I think with a fair degree of certainty, that the Chinese are basically running the silver market. So, that leaves us with a question of what's their future policy going to be on this? Now, tariffs obviously come into this a bit, I suppose, but mainly what China has done, I think, is it has accumulated a large stock of silver, which has value. Now, it can take one of two approaches to this. It can say, well, we want to continue to control the price because, we're going to continue to have demand. Or they can say, we've got such a good stockpile of silver, we don't actually care what the price is. So if it goes up, we can say that, doesn't it look good for us? But of course, it's more expensive if you like to use, but so what, everybody else is in the same boat. So, they're two completely opposite views that they can take on this. I think that it's becoming more in their interest to protect their stockpile, having effectively fed silver into the markets to suppress the price for the last. We know the Silver Institute says there's been a supply deficit for the last 6 years. Taking the ETF variations out of it, it's a solid 6 years. So, but it's longer than that. So I think that the Chinese probably are going to take the view that they'd rather hold on to their silver stocks rather than just keep on chucking it out in the market to try and suppress the price, which is interesting because, if you look at the charts, a breakout from 34 and 3/4, 35 level, it could shoot up to the moon. And if the Chinese stop supplying the market, if you like, trying to control the market, then this could move really quite quickly. And it's happening at a time when everybody that I know has basically lost patience with silver. They think, oh, God, don't talk to me about silver again. Particularly when gold is the real story. That's the one that's really running. So that's basically, I think, where we are.
No, that's really insightful.
Okay, so let's comment. So China's got a lot of silver, apparently, if this is what's really going on. I still think it's the bullion banks have huge amounts of derivatives at $20, $22, $25 an ounce that they're short, and the price is going up, and as it hits 35, they're all in big trouble. So I don't think he understands that. That's part of what keeping the price down. China, okay, so here's where the game ends, is there's no more silver left for China to buy. China's hoarded it all, and like the dragon and the Hobbit, he's got all the silver. Once they run out of silver to give him, then there's no reason to hold the price down. So what he's saying is they're holding the price down so they can buy more. They got a hell of a lot, I'm sure, as does Russia, as does India, as does all these countries. So my point is, when they run out of supply, and I go back to the Super Bowl tickets, 70,000 tickets. Well, it's good. And then when you run out of the 70,000, it goes to the secondary market. And that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. That's what's happening in gold now. But that's what's going to happen in silver. The difference is all the BRICS, the central banks of BRICS, and Putin in the swimming pool and Xi are buying tons and tons of gold. And now there's none left. And now it goes up. Silver, the central banks, they're not buying silver like they bought gold. So there's still maybe a little silver left. But as soon as the silver go out and it runs out, then the price goes, because then there's nothing to hold. Why hold the price down? There's no more silver to buy. I've got a ton of silver. Let's get the price up. So we're anxious here, everybody in class and Luke and Bobby. Let's get the price up. Let's get the price up. They're not done buying it, but they're close. And that's where it is. It's now, as we realize all the dollars are worthless and the gold price is getting high, they're all into silver, and then there'll be no more silver. And then the price goes to the moon. And that's where we're probably in gold, we're there. And in silver, we're probably this far away. There can't be a lot of silver left. And therefore, now, like when he says Dore, they're going right to the mines. So China's going right to the mine, and he's dealing with JP Morgan, and they're buying the silver Dore and then takes it to Switzerland, and they are, or in China, and they're actually turning the silver into coins. We're in the bars. So he's there. That's all they got left is the mines, and how much silver, you know, you run out of silver in the mine. It's not just this bottomless pit of silver in the mine. So once that is done, and I believe it's done in gold, and I believe it's this much left in silver, that's when you're going to see the price go, because, okay, let's move it up. So I don't know how much China is really price fixing it as much as the bullion banks are price fixing it with all their stupid derivatives, going to cost them trillions of dollars. I think that's a bigger part of it. But that's where I'm at. So once the supply runs totally out, and now the 70,000 tickets, there's probably 1,000 tickets left. When that whole 70 goes out, then you got to go secondary market. And that's what we're waiting for on silver, and what we have, that's what we've got in gold. It's the secondary market now, and here it goes. And silver will do the same. Really, there's no choice. What's your option? I can't stay in the dollar. I can't stay here. I can't stay in the stock market. I can't, Bitcoin. I mean, there was all these little distractions. Oh, Bitcoin, it's digital gold. It is digital nothing. I loved using this. You can see it, you can touch it, you can hold it. It's a Willie Mays card. Bitcoin, I can't see anything. I can't touch anything. I can't put it on my shelf. I can't put it on my wall. Do I even know if it's there? No. I mean, these people are the dumbest people in the world. These are the Madoff people who, I'm getting rich because, because I can get 15% with, I don't know how he's doing it. Or the Bitcoin people where I buy Bitcoin because it's going up in value. So what? It doesn't mean anything. All right. So that's where we're at with it. A little bit more. Alligator, Mark McGuire, and my phone's running out anyway, so we'll go a little bit more. All right.
And I think it jives with everything we're seeing here now. I think.
Let me go to brics.
Breakout point, probably 35-ish spot. The thing is that we're seeing an asymmetric, this risk of, say, for example, the BRICS currencies, the BRICS nations saying, well, okay, all this uncertainty, there's a clear attack. Maybe we should consolidate our resources. Let's get together. And I think the unintended, maybe I'm going to ask your thoughts here. Would there be an unintended?
There you go. You're making money.
Blowback to these tariffs being imposed on the globe?
Yeah, actually, yes. I think there are two things worth noting on that, Andrew. The first is that you may have seen that Korea, Japan, and China are now talking about forming some sort of super Asian, East Asian group, as it were. And I think that's fascinating because, this is something which was actually quite unlikely. You would have thought this was very, very unlikely as little as a few months back. But no, they're saying, okay, America is not we've got to have a plan B because America is not actually doing us any favors whatsoever. And when you get, South Korea and Japan aligning with China as opposed to America, this is a shift in tectonic plates, and it should not be ignored. I think that's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I've detected, talking more about BRICS, is the African nations are beginning to look at their resources a lot more seriously. And they're also looking at gold. I think that this is all part of, if you like, an appreciation that the Western financial system is actually in great difficulties. And not only that, but the Western financial system has done the African currencies no favors whatsoever. I mean, you just got to say, that's an emerging economy. And, you could just almost imagine the credibility of the currency just sinking on the back of that statement. It's okay. A lot of it is mismanagement, monetary mismanagement. I mean, Zimbabwe is a prime case of that. Quite a lot of it is past mismanagement and the legacy of that. But these guys, I think, are coming round. I mean, I've been actually asked to go and talk to one central bank. I won't mention names, but I think it's worth notice. I mean, the fact that they're now beginning to consider these matters very, very seriously, I think is extremely important. And I have no doubt that the thoughts amongst BRICS members about their future monetary policy, given that the anchor of the dollar may no longer be appropriate. I think this is a major, major change in everything, and I think it's accelerating. I'm not saying that it necessarily leads to everybody ditching the dollar and all the rest of it. I mean, that I think would be an extreme statement, and I have no justification in making it. But what I would say is that we're seeing the credibility of the dollar internationally being gradually eroded. And so from the point of view of investors, investors in the West, I mean, how do you protect yourself against that? Well, the answer basically is only one thing. You sell dollars, but do you sell them for sterling? Whoops, no, I don't think so. Do you sell them for euros? Oh, I don't think so. Yen? No. I mean, they're all in the same boat. So I think it's the fiat currency thing is a race to the bottom at the moment through our own mismanagement, simply. So from the point of view of investors, I think the only place they can really go to is precious metals, and particularly gold. Follow what the central banks are doing. The central
banks are buying gold. Okay, Prophet. I may have to start calling you Mr. Gold. Professor Gold would be fine. But it's very lots logic. It's what I know. And it's just simply the dollar going out and the Canadian dollar going out and the euro going out. And you only have one lifeboat, which is gold and silver. And they're breaking up COMEX, as you're saying. And each of the those bars are worth $285K now. That's nice. And that's the COMEX price fixing value. Wait until there are no restrictions, which is what my point's been for 3 years. COMEX has been price fixing it, but they're not able to. And the gold price fix is just about over, which leads to we still have the silver price fix, which is why I'm warning you, silver's not going to go up until we break the COMEX price fixing. But if there's no more gold for China to get, and these derivatives they can't control anymore, the bullion banks, then we will see silver doing what gold's doing, and it'll run. The whole thing at COMEX is price fixed, so we need to get rid of COMEX and get to a free market, which is what Shanghai, Moscow, and Dubai all have these free market physical exchanges for precious metals and diamonds. So that's where we'll get to. And if you have all the gold, you don't want to price fix it. You want it to go up. And that's where we're headed. So that's why it's advised to buy as much as you can and get out of your dollars, because it's going to go and it's going to go to the moon. So that's why if you have spare dollars to buy it. Do you ever watch that show? Will they pan for gold in Nome, Alaska? No, I'm sorry, I don't watch that. Um, I'm busy watching the YouTubes. I'm watching the Mark McGuires and the Alligators and the Egons, and I laugh at a few of these other idiots like Peter Schiff and stuff, and stuff like that. I'm watching a little bit, and then I'm watching movies, and then I'm doing my research here. Once again, I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but the top 5 things to become a financial power: low taxes, most importantly, free trade, the rule of law, stable money, which is gold, because the money we have is not stable, and good communications. Do what you're told, say what you mean, keep the market, free market, laissez-faire, get the government, leave it alone. Let me and you trade. And obviously, low taxes, low government. The reason you have little government is you can't afford it. Government doesn't produce revenue and can't pay for itself. They need the taxes to pay for it, but you don't want to tax the people because you take money out of the economy. That's where the tariffs come in, but it's not a game like Trump's doing. Trump sits there and acts like he knows what he's doing, and he doesn't. He doesn't have a clue. I'm going to tariff China at 120%. Then I show you a China video, and everybody's crying. They're going, we can't make orders because the tariff is driving our cost up. The people selling the goods to the U.S. are the ones that pay the tariffs, not the U.S. I don't know where that's coming from. We don't pay the tariffs. The costs go up from China to sell it to us, but the tariff part of it. So if we got an order for $1,000, now China's got to pay $2,000, but we only owe $1,000, and that really maybe doesn't affect the selling price of the item. And even if it does, it doesn't matter because they can't make Nikes go from $100 to $1,000. Nobody will buy them. Again, the market's here. Nike tennis shoes. Okay, here's the price. Here's the tariff. Oh, I'm going to raise the price. Well, nobody's home. You're not going to sell any. You've got to keep the price to the market. So that's why I bitch about price increases. You won't have price increases. With inflation, you don't have price. You have a little bit of price increases. But then as I showed you Coca-Cola at Kroger's, I'll show you again. So these are 2-liter Cokes, $3.49, $3.49, but nobody can buy them. So what do? 2 for $5. And now they're only $2.50. If you buy 2, you save basically $1. You save $3. So the real price is $2.50, not $3.49, because nobody's going to pay $3.49 for the pop. It's the market. The market's here, and maybe it's $2.50, maybe it's $2, but the price is here, and there's nobody home. So this is how the grocery store does it. So they go 2 for 1, which lowers the price to market because they have to, because they don't have a choice. Because it just doesn't. They pay Coke when the bottles come in. They pay Coke. So I used to work at a grocery store, and they do the inventory. I need 20. The 2 liters come 8 in a box, right? And there's 8 2 liters, diet and regular and cherry, whatever. And so they pay for it. So they pay the Coke driver, the 7-Up driver, and everybody else, and they deliver it. And they pay it. Now it's on their shelves. So now Kroger's has to sell it, or they're out all the money that they just paid the driver. And so they put it out at $3.50, but they can't sell it at $3.50. So it ends up they can't sell it at the $3.50. What do? They've already paid for it. So then they have to lower the price. As I talk about my Canadian club, if I can't sell it, it's at $100 a bottle. I got to sell it 70. I got to lower my price to meet the market. $60, 50. Now, as less and less people have money because they're all paying it in taxes and all the other costs are going up and they're losing their jobs, as this happens, they then have less money to buy things. And that's why in China, when I show you the airport and the mall and there's nobody there, there's no market. The market's gone. And that's the problem. That's the starvation. I don't have money for food. I don't have money. All my money's gone. Everything's too expensive. I got it in the guy's staying with his mortgage. I got it into that. That's why I laughed at We Are the World with Michael Jackson, and they're all doing it for the starving kids in Africa. And I'm going, they're not starving because your $1 million is going right into the politicians' pockets. It's not going to help feed the kid. There's no genie there, or Gandalf isn't there. You give him money and all of a sudden, oh, now I can plant crops and grow and the kids will eat. That never will happen. The money they gave, if they gave anything to Africa, which I doubt, so probably George Soros was behind it. So he gets all the Michael Jackson and all these guys, Bruce Springsteen, to come for free. So he doesn't pay them. Then he gets all this money in sales and then he pockets the money. I mean, that's probably what happened. Who's you going to give it to in Africa? Who are you giving it to? The government's corrupt. That's why why do you think you don't have food? Nobody can afford it. So nobody makes it. They all sell it to other countries. Egypt had a lot of food. I remember watching the Roman movies, they'd get their food, the wheat, from Egypt. And then they kind of ran shortages on purpose to get the people anxious. And so you're going to send $1 million, $100 million to Rome so they can feed the people. Guess what? It's not going to happen. So that was a big fallacy there. Trump drinks 12 Diet Cokes a day, according to Mary Trump. He needs the caffeine. The caffeine's going to kill him. Just Diet Coke's bad for you because the fructose and the things that are in instead of the sugar are bad for you, right? Because your body doesn't know what they are and they can't break it out. He'd be much better off drinking water with ginger and cinnamon and honey, as I do. It's all natural. I don't need the caffeine. So this is what I drink. Having caffeine's terrible for you. Very not only is it very addicting, it's not good for you. It's not healthy for you. So that's what I got. So we have the silver and gold running out, and when it runs out of inventory, then it's going to go because then comex can't hold it, and then everybody. I mean, you got China going to the mines right now and getting the dory and making the bars out of it. Well, how long? They're how much can you dig out of the mine? The mine isn't limitless. The mine has a limit, and that's it. So there's not much left. What's really triggering gold is the fact that this is worthless triggers all the central banks to buy gold and join BRICS and get out of the dollar. So I don't know what Alligator's thinking. The dollar's done. All these countries joining BRICS, it's up to 20. It's going to be 60 or 70 getting out of the dollar, gold-backed currency. So the demand for gold's there. They're just not the demand for silver there, right? The central banks of all the BRICS countries are not buying the silver as they are buying the gold. That's the difference, right? So once they start turning to silver, then you're going to see silver do what gold's doing. Gold will hit 10,000, silver will hit 3,000. So it's get in while you can now. You didn't miss the boat on gold, but it's not going to come back. It's going to go up and up and up and up. Let's see if it's at 3,300 yet. Let's see. 3,250. It's at 32, 34. The high for the day got to 32, 41, 42. It took its drop and now it's back up. It's already 2 o'clock. It closes at 5:30. I don't see anything big negative. So 32, 34. We shall see 3,300 next week. 32.15. So it's up $1.37. Let's take a look at it on the chart. So here's silver today. Same chart as gold. It's sitting there, and about 7 o'clock, it jumps from 31.23 to 32.17. It took a little drop, and then it's back to 32.17, 32.16, so 32.13. I don't know that we can get it to 35. It'll cost the banks too much, so I don't know if we can do that. Your baseball picks for today. I'm not going to go through all of them, and I'm going to go through the ones that we're actually going to bet. Cincinnati, 3 units. Washington, 2. Boston over 8, 2 units. And Philadelphia over 7.5 is 3 units. Now, what I do on days like today, I go into my Excel spreadsheet where I have all my gold listed by countries and then totaled up. And I go, here's the new spot price, and now here's the new gold price. All right, let's go into the Masters. Let's look at the scoreboard, and I'm going to go to the club soon, and I can watch it there. Leaderboard. Justin Rose. All right, he finished 1 under today. He's 8 under. Brian DeChambeau is on the 13th hole. He's 7 under. Rory made a big thing. He shot a 51 today, but he's on the 14th hole. He's got to play the final 5 holes. He's 5 under. Corey Connors is 5 under. Scott Scheffler is 5 under. He's on the 12th. Shane Lowry, 4 under. Jason Day, 3 under. Tommy Fleetwood Mac, 3 under. Let's see. Anybody else? Nobody of any importance. Jordan Spieth is at even. I hate that guy. And let's see. Bernhard Langer, he's +1. Phil Mickelson +2. Fred Couples +2. Let's see. Dustin Johnson +3. That's a shame. Danny Willett, I like Danny Willett's +3. Sergio +4. And Jose Maria Olazabal +7. Too bad Sevy's not here. He'd be leading. You always wondered how Sevy didn't win, right? Angel Cabrera, who's like 90 years old, is like 11 over. He was old when I watched it years ago. So Justin Rose 8, Shambo 7, Rory 5, Scott Scheffler 5. Scotty, what is that? Who do you think he is from Euro Trip? Scotty? Scotty doesn't know. And baseball hasn't started yet. It's 6:10's the first game. KC Cleveland, Pitt Cincinnati. So there you have it, folks. You have the gold going through the roof. It will not stop. As much as you can buy. In your instance, profit with your fiance. You have to work that out. Are you getting any of the bars? Is she keeping the bars? Are you paying the shipping? And then you got to pay the shipping to the U.S. Sounds like a big muddy pile. I'm waiting to meet Daria. Very stoic with Daria. I really cleaned it up. She I asked her if you're just fucking around with me. Like, you keep saying we'll meet, and then you come up with an excuse. Are you meeting me or not? And then so she got scared, like, oh, no. Are you not with me anymore? He says, well, how long do you want me to wait? I am with you if you're going to meet me. So she's like, she got the message. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do my best. We'll meet. Let's look at the summer. I go, yeah, that's fine. It's already April. So I'm just frustrated because I met Jenna during the war. We went on 4 or 5 vacations in Europe, and not a problem. Nobody cares. So that's when she's more nervous because she's Russian. And I said, but that doesn't, nobody's going to know. You're not going to wear I am Russian or have a flag. You're just going to be just a regular European girl. And that'll be it. So I said, stop worrying about it. She says, I'm not worried. Stop worrying about it. But I think it's important we meet already. How long do you want me to vent? For 3 years, waiting to meet you, making sure it's real. I'm giving you money. And anyway, I think she got the message finally. She wants me to take delivery of the bars right now, which is fine with me. But I thought you needed a marriage license. Or should we talk about this offline? But okay, fine. You pay the shipping and you get the bars, and then you're going to ship them to her. So you got to pay for shipping twice, or let her pay for shipping to her, I guess. I don't know, or just keep the bars. I don't know, but yeah, they're at least keep a few of the bars. Anyway, so that's what's going on with Daria. If you're getting frustrated with your girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, if you're a woman, or your husbands, just be forthwith with them. Like I told you the story about my friend where she said, yeah, I sold the gold, but I didn't know if you'd be mad, so I didn't tell you. Well, no, tell me. Why are you so worried about me being mad? Why would I? Don't you know me well enough that I really don't get mad? The only pet peeve I have is when somebody's just wrong. When they don't understand gold or they don't understand inflation, that kind of frustrates me, right? Or when they think I don't know, that frustrates. There was something that came up. I think it was because they didn't think I knew, and it frustrated me. It's like, yeah, I know what's going on. Probably something at the gym, but that's where you're at. It's ridiculous. But there's no point in lying about anything. You don't lie. And that's the thing. I don't worry. Yeah, I didn't want to hurt Daria's feelings and say, look, if we don't meet, I'm moving on. I was going to say that, but I stayed stoic, and I don't want to hurt her. I like Daria, obviously. So I made the choice. Do I want to be with her or not? And then from there, you get all this craziness. So anyway, I calmed her down today, saying, no, I'm not. She says, you still going to date me? I says, well, I guess if you call this dating, I go, yeah, I'm of course. I don't want to leave you, but if you never meet me, what are we going to do? And that's really the concern, is that, well, I'm paying you rent and then you don't want to meet me. So how long do you want me to keep paying rent for you? In other words, how long are we going to do this until, at least if we meet? Jenna, I met. We went on 5 or 6 trips together. And then she wanted to, I don't know if she wanted to marry me or she just wanted to get a ring and make sure she had some gold coming. So not quite sure. I think she generally loved me, but wanted the ring. And I don't know why that was such a big deal. Anyway, that's what happens with people. Just be honest with people. And as I showed you in the Stoic one, don't worry about, you can only control what you can control. So I can't control Daria's reaction, but I can ask it in a proper way that she gets nervous. Are you not dating me anymore? Now, for her to say that means she is serious with me. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I feel good she is, although I am like, when the fuck are we meeting? We were supposed to meet last year when your mom was going to watch your daughter. That never happened. Then it's the peace talks, which are still going on, which the way it looks, who knows if there'll ever be peace in Russia and the Ukraine. They can just keep buying the military complex. So are we going to get but why are we waiting for that to happen? My point is we shouldn't be waiting. I've been to Europe. I was just in Italy in October. There's no threat to Americans. So I'm not quite sure what she's worried about. And that's my point with her. What are we're waiting, the way she worded it, well, let's just wait for the relations in the world to get better. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. I mean, you never have peace. You always have some sort of conflict, but you keep moving on. You don't stop living for that. And that was my point. So anyway, I'm waiting for her to. We'll look at the summer, but again, I'm getting frustrated, waiting and waiting and waiting. So I scared the shit out of her now, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a shit or get off the pot. Let's get together. I can't keep doing this if we don't meet. It's not fair to me to not see anybody else and wait to meet you, and you're keeping me waiting and waiting and waiting. That's not fair. So that was kind of my point. Like, let's meet already. This is crazy. Well, we'll wait for the war to end, or we'll wait for an easier time. I go, well, that's not going to happen. I know what Trump's doing, so that's not going to happen. So now, what are we going to wait 10 years to meet? I can't do that. That's ridiculous. Not that I don't want to be with you and I want to date you, but you're in Russia and you're going to use this. That's totally ridiculous. So no, I'm not. I would cut off the money supply until you meet at least. Well, I'm shortening it. Definitely. But the FX rate's coming down. It was 100, so I could give her 100 for 100. Now it's like 82, 83. So now I really got to give her 110 for the 100. But I'm not working, getting Social Security, trying to get unemployment, which has gone up $100 a week for 26 weeks, which is nice. It helps with the credit card and with Daria, and I can buy more gold and silver with it. And my last company didn't put my first quarter earnings in. They said, well, you got to work 2 quarters in a row, or 2 quarters out of 5. Well, I haven't worked for a year, so I got fourth quarter and first quarter. So I'm proving I worked in the first quarter. And that's what I did today. I got this form, and I filled it out, and I got to send that in Monday because I already filled in my pay stub saying, here's my pay stub, I worked. And that's where we go. They already know I worked fourth quarter, so there's no point in giving them my W-2. I could, but there's no point in it. Anyway, so maybe I'll just send that in too. But I should get it, and I don't care if I have to wait a few weeks longer to get it. That's fine. I don't think she's a scammer. She could be a scammer, but then at the end of the day, wouldn't anybody be a scammer? Who isn't a scammer? Right? Your girl could be a scammer, maybe not. I was married. Was my wife a scammer? I mean, I think just about every girl is a scammer to a point. Buy me a house, buy me a car, buy me this, buy me that. I mean, define scammer. I guess it's the intent. Let's put the intent down. If her intent is to just take the money and never meet, then she's scamming. Madoff never bought a transaction, was scamming, but he actually paid everybody what their due was until he couldn't get new money in. The government scams us every day. Wall Street scams us every day. Look at Comex, keeping the price artificial. They're scamming us. So we're involved with a bunch of scams. So the question is the benefit. Well, if I was meeting Daria like I met Jenna, even if Jenna's scamming, well, okay, but I get to meet her and have a good time with her and everything like that. Well, then is that worth it? I mean, I don't think Jenna's scammy, and yet, I would send her money for food and getting her nails done and going to the gym. So it's very, very deceiving what that means. But the fact that I see Jenna, okay, there's girls that kind of are scamming you that you don't even know who they are. They won't send you a picture, or better yet, they send you some pretty girl's picture. It's not even them. They won't call you. Those are scam. They want money with that. That's what I would call a scam. Daria sends me pictures. She sent me a picture with her and her daughter and the cat. And she sends me, a lot of pictures. So that's really her. And here's my mother and here's my daughter. That I don't think is a scam. But she does rely on me to help her out because I've told her I would. Can you help me out? Now, I could have said no, and that might have been the end of it. Or she might have said, well, that's okay. I still want to be with you, and I just will find money from somebody else, I guess. Jenna said that to me. She says, you're the only one I'm taking money from. And I kind of like, oh, aren't I special? But there's a couple of keys that Russian women do not fuck around when they want to be with you. When they want to get serious with you, they don't fuck around. When they ask me, when they say I'm with you, that's a very serious thing. Things that she wouldn't have to say in a scam. So I don't believe she's scamming me. I believe she's scared, and I believe she's frightened of the war. Probably her friends are telling her, be careful. It's not safe for Russians to go out. So she's careful and not going out because of what her friends are saying, and that's possible. I don't know. This is the problem more with, well, it's not that it's long distance because I would move there, she could move here. The problem is there's a fucking war going on. So it makes her afraid to travel, and I can't go there because of the war. How can American go to Russia, even though we're really not fighting them, the Ukraine is. So it makes it very difficult. The war makes everything more difficult. And then it's do I want to give up or not? And I don't want to give up, but if she's never going to meet me, I have to give up, right? If you're never going to meet me, then how's this going to work? I don't want to have a girlfriend in Russia and never meet her. The plans are to meet and to be together. So that's what the plans are. So it's taking longer because of the stupid war, but we can't let the war dictate that. At some point, you got to say, screw it. We're just going to go and be together and not worry about the war. And that's what I'm saying to her. I said, I'm not scared. Stop being scared. Just let's meet. Now she's giving me, well, let's see what it's like in the summer. And I'm like, you're doing it again. Don't fuck with me because it's not fair to me to wait for, But I think she expects me to date here. She says, tell me about when you date. And I'm like, I don't know. I ain't going to fall into that trap. So I don't think she's a scammer. She could be. So far, I don't think any of the girls are really scammers. I think their idea is, oh, he's from America. He's rich. And then I'll be his friend, and then he can give me money. And I don't know that they're even thinking they're scamming. I think they're just thinking, we're Americans, we're rich, because that's what they're told. I mean, Russia, her sister married an American, so she says, oh, well, Howard's an American, I can marry him. It's okay, or the Americans are okay. Like, they don't even know that we're okay. God knows what they think of what's going on. So that's what makes it very difficult, is the fact that they don't really know what we are. And we don't really know what the Russians are. I know from talking to Daria and Jenna, they're very nice people, very pretty, looking for a good man because they hate Russian guys. So I think that's really what it is. We grew up not trusting Russians, and they're not bad people. They're just, when you travel to Europe, everybody's the same. They're just guy, he's a girl. We go to dinner, we go shopping. You go to the mall, everybody's shopping. You go to dinner, everybody's eating. It's the same thing. We're all the same, basically. It's the propaganda the governments tell us, oh, don't trust Europeans, don't trust Russians or Chinese or whatever. And they're fine. So I don't think that's what it is. I don't think she's scamming. I could cut the money off, but I think that would hurt her. And I don't want to hurt her. See, that's the problem. So I gave her less. She needed food. I gave her less today. And that's it. Sorry. Now, when I get unemployment and it's higher, then I can help her a little more. But that's why I'm pushing the meet. Well, if we're not going to meet, then I'm going to have to stop dating you because, we can be friends and I can still text you. But what does that lead to? I'm talking to you to meet you, to be with you. That's the point of the talk. So that's where I don't get it. No, I don't want to just talk to you and give you money for rent and never meet you. Then I'm wasting my time because there's other gals I can meet and spend my time with. And you're always going to spend money on girls. I don't know who thinks they're not. I think that's just a very silly way to think of things. Girls need protection. They need to feel loved and they're emotional. So if you go to a girl and you want to be with her and you don't want to give her money, she ain't hanging around because she knows there's 20 there's competition, right? There's 20 other guys that'll give me money. And that's the thing. I don't know how you can date a girl and not at least buy her dinner and stuff like that. Some won't. Some actually like you and don't want your money because they don't want you to think you like them for the money. So I've run into that a few times. Anyway, it's all I can do. And it's frustrating because now it's like, okay, let's wait for the summer. And, there'll be another excuse and another excuse. And I'm tired of the excuses. This is what I tried to tell her is it's too frustrating waiting for you. But a lot of it's due to the war and her mentality of I'm afraid, to travel. How do you deal with that? Is that a scam or is that real? But when she tells me I'm afraid to go to the dentist or I'm afraid to go to the doctor, I see what I'm dealing with. So that's really what I've been trying to put to her is I'm afraid you don't want to meet. And that's where my problem is. So we need to meet. And she says, I do want to meet you. But again, she could say anything. She could say the sky's red. And, she can say the sky's blue. Does she mean it? And that's the problem. So she can say, I want to meet. But when it comes when are we going to meet? In 5 years when the war's over? So we're hoping Trump ends the war soon, but it doesn't look like it. We'll see. This is like Trump doing the Fort Knox. He said he's going to audit it, but he never will because there's no gold there. Anyway, so I'm hungry, and then I'm going to go to the pool and watch the Masters, and we'll look at everything. So anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Watch gold. Gold ends about 5:30 today. And our last look at it as I'm losing battery. Gold is at $32.36. So it's nice and healthy. No big pushback. Silver $32.22. So if we're not getting the down on the U.S., means COMEX is gone. That means China gets it Sunday night and you piss them off. They're going to buy it and buy it. They're trying to break you right now because if you have 60,000 tons of gold, you want the gold price to go up. You don't want the U.S. buying any, and if they are, you're going to make them pay a lot more. So that's what it is. So Prophet, you could be right. Your girl could be a scammer. My girl, everybody's girl could be a scammer. put it this way, look, when you divorce them, how vicious they get. They want the kids, they want the custody, they do all that. So they can be very venomous themselves, even if they're, I guess, what is a scammer? She just wants your money. Now, if she lived here and she wouldn't meet me, hey, Daria, let's go out to dinner, and she kept excuses, I'd be gone. But the fact that she lives in Russia, the confusing part is the fucking war. That's where it is really difficult, because you can't just ignore that there's a war with Russia. You gotta, yeah, there is. So who knows what they're telling her, but that's where I kind of will say, these are my concerns, that the fact we haven't met, I know there's a war, you keep waiting to meet, but then you back away, and that's, I'm not going to just, and then it is the money, I'm not going to just keep paying you, and then you don't meet me. So I thought it would go away when they don't take it, but because her sister still has a Russian bank account and lives in the U.S., I PayPal the sister, who then takes it and sends it to her in Russia. Now, that could have been a plan where the sister lives here all along. So when I am paying her, thinking, well, it'll end because now with the sanctions, and then the sister goes ahead and says, oh, no, I got a Russian bank account. You can send it to her. Then that's another issue. So I don't know. I sent her perfume for her birthday, and she showed me the perfume. So she's very honest to me. Give me money for birthday. It's a perfume. She shows me, here's the bottle of perfume. What am I supposed to do? She is being honest with me. So I don't know. I honestly don't think she's scamming me. My spider senses. However, you get to the point where you're like, I want to be with her already. This is crazy. I get the war and I'm being patient, but you lose your patience. So anyway, so that's what's going on. So have a good day, everybody. Good luck. If you're betting baseball, the gold, you should be. I don't really want to do much betting, like playing poker, just for the same simple reason of, if I buy gold and silver, I can't lose. If I go play poker, I could lose. So I could win, but I could lose. And if I lose, that's money I could have bought gold and silver with. And I know gold and silver are going up. So it's like, why gamble at poker to win money when you just buy gold and you're going to win money? So that's kind of what it is. Anyway, Prophet, have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll be watching the Masters, and like now I'm going to go to the gym and work out after having some lunch. All right, everybody, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Normally, if you're dating a girl and she lives in your city, now this would be the scenario, and then I'll end it. If in her city she won't meet you, you keep going, let's go out, and she keeps giving you excuses, you just stay stoic on her and you don't even bother her anymore. This is different because it's international and it's a war going on that broke out. Before I could have met her. I met Jenna thinking I was going to meet her a few months later, and then the war broke out and I couldn't meet her. And I can't believe, what the hell, there's a war? And then it should have ended after a month. Ukraine was going to end it. And Boris Johnson said, oh, no, you can't. And they keep letting the war go on. I think the real reason is because they think that's how you get out of recession. It's not how you get out of recession, because the wars are very expensive. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. All right, take care, everybody.